It's been too long since we've had a chance to chat to our mate Robbie, the leader of Katter's Australia Party. His votes will be key. Firstly, I reckon there's going to be a big surge for his party that's going to take a couple more seats on top of the ones they already have in the Queensland Parliament. And then their preferences, they go to and from One Nation. One Nation's preferences go to and from Katter's Australia. Between them, those preferences will decide the election. Robbie joins us now. Mate, it's been too long. How's the campaign trail, mate? Where are we tonight?
In Townsville, at the heart of the battle, Paul. So up in the far north, up in Weeper yesterday, Townsville today, Whitsundays tomorrow. So it's all happening here, mate.
So give me an idea of the hit list for the Katter Australia Party, at least the one you're willing to talk about publicly here. And do you think that One Nation votes can make some things a little more possible than before that deal was done?
Yeah, they're a great enabler of the One Nation vote. There's no doubt Pauline's a large political force without even trying in Queensland. So, and I think it's important that we send a signal that, you know, we're not trying to take over the joint, but it's important to have a lever, and particularly in the rural and regional areas of Queensland, we want to be a strong voice for those areas. So we haven't run, there's 93 seats in Queensland, we're running in 13 of those, I think it is. So we want to be focused and just say, look, we don't want to be everything to everyone, but we certainly want to represent the rural areas. And yeah, those One Nation votes will cost a lot. The sort of things we're looking at, Paul, you know, a government build of rail line the Galilee Basin. So that will cost you and I as taxpayers nothing, because the rail line will pay for itself through the users' fees over the years. And probably in your first few years of operation, you'll be looking at $500 million in royalties alone from those coal reserves that sit there in the Galilee Basin. If we don't take them, someone else will eventually. And that's a bit of a no-brainer. And that's, you know, they're the sort of things that are going to be, you know, the salvation we need in the economy here in Queensland as Labor's driving us into the gutter. And, you know, we released another one today, which is for commercial marinas or Gulf mini ports, if you like. So Labor's done their darndest to lock up Queensland in terms of ports. They passed legislation no new ports could ever be built in Queensland. I might add the LNP voted with them on that one. And then they also blocked any more transshipping. So we released a policy today, and we're going to drive hard to turn that around so that we can set up little commercial marinas all around Cape York and those areas where they've been locked up forever. And we can start exporting goods, anything, and, you know, tourism boats, but also exporting commercial goods out of those areas, whether it be cattle, agricultural produce or minerals. And so they're the sort of things we'd like to offer. An ethanol mandate, you know, to stimulate agriculture up here in the north. Actually, I should say all around Queensland, the grain farming areas of southern Queensland. They're all big things we think we can offer to the Queensland economy. We're taking that, and we think it's a bit better than the option of having the Greens in there in a hung parliament who think you can run an economy on happy thoughts and selling wind chimes and incense burners.
God, I love you. Now, you know, you and I are straight shooters, and I know that, you know, in the middle of a campaign, there's a limit to the sort of things that you can say, and you also know that people will bullshit directly to your face sometimes. Do you feel that it's different? Do you feel that, you know, the mood is there that, say, in Townsville, that they're ready to go, you know what, we're going to go Katter as the main minor party? Do you get the sense that they hate them both, that they hate the government more, that they think Deb's not good enough? You know, give me an idea about just your travels and what people say to you about what they want, about how the joint and who gets to run the joint for the next 4 years.
Yeah, look, if I was going to be fair to the major parties, you know, it is bloody hard for them, Paul, because it's a fair dichotomy in Queensland of trying to win seats in, particularly in North Queensland compared to Brisbane. There's some, you know, what I would call some funny sort of views in Brisbane that are fairly, you know, far apart from the views of people in North Queensland. It's pretty hard for Deb or the Labor Party, for that matter, to try and pitch, sell their wares in Brisbane, then come up here and pitch the same things to say, you know, we've got to save the Great Barrier Reef in Brisbane, then come up here and say, well, actually, there's probably, you know, not as big a problem as we thought. That's a really tough gig for them. And I think if I was going to be fair, though, it's easy for me to say, yes, there is a big push against the Maids, and I think there is a bit of a shift, but it's probably more apathy. People just aren't buying the BS that politicians have served them and they've got away with for so long now, that you've got to earn the right to get their vote. And we've been around for 10 years now, and we've worked pretty hard up here to try and earn people's trust, and hopefully that's enough. But, you know, we'll see what happens on the 31st of October. That'll be the ultimate arbiter.
All right, last one here. Pauline's been clear, and she said it as late as tonight, that she won't move her numbers behind the Labor Party to form government. Do both parties have a shot with you?
Well, all I could say, you know, it's very, very difficult to see a future with the Labor Party in Queensland after what they've done the last 6 years. We're, you know, deeply dissatisfied with the direction they've taken in Queensland. They've run us into a gutter. But I would also say, Paul, I can't go and offer people, say I'm going to deliver the Bradfield scheme or deliver these, you know, mini ports through the Gulf, or deliver ethanol industry or rail on the Galilee. You can't do that unless you've got numbers in Parliament, and you can't go to a negotiating table flagging who you're going with before you even get to the negotiating table. Because guess what? Guess what I'd do if I was the LNP and already told that I'm a foregone conclusion? I know what I'd give me, nothing. So it's very important that I leave my options open and go either way, and I don't think it makes any sense at all to be able to telling people which way you're going first, because the whole point of voting for a minor party is that they, in a position of balance of power, will go drive hard for a negotiating position that will deliver some great things for Queensland, like a rail line into the Galilee, like some more dams here in Queensland. But you can't do that if you're sort of offering up your thing before even getting a deal on the table. And if someone came forward with a deal now that was, we'd have to look at that and maybe sign up, but no one's coming forward, so all bets are off. We'll be ruthless and we'll do something crazy if we have to, but we really just need to turn things around for the bush, rural and regional Queensland, and there's a lot of work to do there, Paul. So it's no work for the faint-hearted, and we've got to make people work for our support, not just take it for granted.
Robbie, it's been amazing to talk to you over the past few years, watching you get stronger and stronger and stronger at the job. You're already good on day one, but I tell you what, if you're the man who decides which way government goes, you are the exact right person with exactly the right tone and brain for it, mate. Let's talk every week between now and the election. All the best to you.
Thanks, Paul. Appreciate it.
Good on you. Robbie Catter, we've backed him in for a long time. Remember, your preferences in regional Queensland will decide what the election is. Brisbane relatively set, the coast's relatively set. Regional Queensland, from Townsville all the way up and in, it all matters. Flush this mob. I'll give you the domestos. Get rid of the stain.